Hey everyone, welcome back to LC Model Shipbuilding. Taking not a break, but a time out, I guess you'd say, from the United States build, and I decided to go ahead and start going after the Constitution. The United States is just taking forever to 3D print a lot of parts that I'm working on doing right now. So I'm doing some nice add-ons for it. It's just gonna take a while, so I just got propellers done. Taking some time. I gotta trim them all out, but anyway, it's gonna give me the opportunity to go ahead and start working on the Constitution, which, as you can see behind me, I've already done. So this video, though, basically we're gonna go through painting the hull. We get the hull all painted up, we get the lower deck installed and the scale decks put on it, and yeah, basically I'll show you kind of what it looks like right now, and this is where we're going to be by the end of the video. So thank you very much for tuning in. I know I might have some new people here that were from the Constitution page. I have not done a tall ship in a very, very long time. I did build this kit previously, probably 25 years ago when I was a kid. It was actually displayed at a local model shop. Unfortunately, it eventually fell off of a shelf and basically got destroyed. So I've had this one in my basement probably for a good 5 or 6 years now, and all I had done prior to this, I had painted the white stripe on it, and I painted the deck, and then work and having a son and all that kind of stuff kind of got out of models for a long time. So this year I really have gotten back into it a lot, and I'm really excited to go ahead and rebuild this Constitution ship. So thank you very much for tuning in. Without further ado, here we go. Okay, so this is part one of the U.S.S. Constitution. As I said, this model I've had for a long time. It was brand new, but it sat in a box for quite a while in my basement. So first thing I'm going to do before any kind of real painting is just kind of wipe it all down with rubbing alcohol to get any dirt and debris off so that paint can adhere to it better. So let me get this wiped down and I'll be right back. Okay. Our next step, and I painted the white years ago when I had started this model, but yeah, our next step is going to be taping off the water line so we can paint our copper on the bottom. And I always use, for the main line, is Tamiya tape. I find that to be the best for holding ability, and then I'll use a lighter, typical like blue painter's tape from there. I guess I'm out of that one. So yeah, my biggest thing with taping off hulls is making sure I don't get the run through underneath it, because obviously it looks terrible, and Tamiya does a really good job of sticking, and I've really never had any issues with it running through afterwards. So highly recommend the Tamiya tape. Now, when I started this one before, like I said, I had already painted the white, and I had started doing the decking for the build, which I was brush painting. It looked okay, but I decided to go with the scale decks, so they just arrived. I have them, so this video will probably get the hull painted and maybe get the scale decks installed. So I'm kind of doing double duty right now. Those of you who have been tuned into the channel have been potentially watching the build or the rebuild of the United States model. So I'm still working on that, but unfortunately it's just taking some time because I'm 3D printing a lot of the parts that I'm using to rebuild that model, and it takes time to 3D print. Not to mention, I'm fairly new in the 3D print world, so I've been learning that whole new aspect of doing it, because I never had 3D printed before this. So there's that side taped up. So I'm going to go ahead and tape off the bottom here, or the top, I'm sorry, the top up here, and do the other side real quick, and then we're going to start painting. I'll be right back. Okay, I got both sides all taped up. I didn't end up going for taping it with paper. I always say I'm going to do that, and then I somehow always end up just using tape. But anyway, that's ready to go. What I'm using for paint is actually a railroad paint that I had gotten, but it's just a copper color, and we're going to airbrush that, and got to make sure if this is I do believe this would be enamel, so this is a little bit older of a paint, but it should look about the right color, so we're going to go with that. So let me get the airbrush ready and get this shaken up and thinned out, and then I'll come back to you and show you how the copper looks on the bottom at least. So we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so it looks like that turned out pretty good. We're going to go ahead and unwrap it and take a look, see, and see how we look. Then after that, we'll tape up the black and get ready to spray that. For the black, I'm not going to go a straight solid black. I'm actually going to use a, they call it NATO black. It's a Tamiya color. It is acrylic, but I get a lot of success with that. And a lot of the other ships that I've built, pretty happy with it, the results from it anyway. So this is the first tall ship that I have built in probably 25 years, maybe more. I really haven't built one of these since I was a kid, and I'm pretty excited about it. The only hard part is going to be figuring out where the heck I'm going to put it, because until this is all said and done, they're probably getting close to 2.5 feet wide, but it will definitely make a nice display in my living room. That among all the ocean liners that I've built. So I'm looking forward to having this one. I've always been interested in the Constitution. I've been on the ship a couple times, and I've been on the sister ship of it, the Constellation in Baltimore. So two very similar ships, and they both had quite a bit of history. Constitution actually still being considered in actual service, so it is cool to be able to see that ship in person and actually have seen it sailed, and some of the other, it does a lot of events for the Baltimore area, or not the Baltimore, I'm sorry, the Boston area for 4th of July and stuff like that. But it is still technically registered and in service with the United States Navy, so it is the oldest ship in the U.S. Navy fleet, and in a lot of ways I think one of the coolest, if not the coolest. So for our model that we're building here, we will not be putting sails on it. It does come with the sails. They're kind of a plastic blow mold type deal, which if you've built a model sail ship, you've probably seen them before, but I never really cared for the look of them. They just never look real. So I'm planning on just leaving this how it would look at port, you know, with no sails drawn. But yeah, kind of is what it is. Now, back when I had originally started this, I did paint the back already, which I think I'm gonna keep. I'm just gonna repaint the bottom maybe a little bit, but pretty happy with how that turned out. So all in all, it looks pretty good. So anyway, we'll get this tape off here. I'll let it kind of harden up a little bit while I go eat something, and then we're going to paint our black. But I'm real happy with how the copper laid down. Looks pretty good. So anyway, there she is in her current state, and we'll come back here in a little bit, get her taped down, and paint it black. Okay, we are all taped off now, so I'm going to go ahead and start to get ready to spray it. And like I said, I'm going with a flat NATO black. That will look very good on this. And yeah, I'll be back after we paint. Okay, well, we are painted. So let's go ahead and take off our tape and see how that came out. I feel pretty good with it. I like the color. It's, in my opinion, when you go too black, it loses a lot of the realism that you're going for in scaling. So this NATO gray or NATO black actually just has a good scaled look to it. So I'm pretty happy with it. All right. So anyway, like I was saying before, Constitution, as I've been reading a little bit of the history of it, has had several different refits over the years, which way more than I realized. And the current rendition actually was built to be more of a museum type ship, but they actually have a farm for oak trees that is specific to the Constitution, so that when they do rebuilds and refits, they're using the same type of wood and the same sizes and whatnot that are currently on the ship. So I just found that interesting. All right, we had a little bit of bleed through, which does not surprise me here and there. So I'll have to touch up right in here a little bit and back here by the quarters, but not a big deal. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. It's got the look I'm looking for. Definitely nice. So let's see how the other side came out. I might as well do the back of the, I believe it was the captain's quarters. Like I said, I was keeping the paint on that. I just don't feel like respraying all of that. Perfect. Okay, so that is about how I wanted that to look. All right, now let's check out the back. I debated doing lighting on this, but there really would not have been very many lights. I could potentially light up the captain's quarters a little bit, but I really don't think I'm going to bother with that. It's just a lot more work, and like I said, the effect would not really warrant it. I know I've seen some builds that guys have done the lighting and it looks great. I'm not knocking that at all. I'm just, for mine, I don't really see the purpose in it. Besides, I pretty much light all my other ships. Okay, good, looking good. Come on. All right. So one thing, yeah, I figured I'd get the bleed through there too, but not a biggie. All right. So next up, we'll actually be joining the hull together, and I'll bring the decks over, and I'll probably be putting the very first deck on and starting the scale decking. So, all right, I'm gonna touch those up, and when we come back, we'll start doing some deck work. Alrighty, I'll be back. Okay, I got the inner walls on the top deck painted green, so I'm getting ready to glue the hull back together. Not too worried about the overspray down here. Nobody will ever see that, so not a big deal. But I'm gonna go ahead and get the hull glued together, and then we're going to start working on the decking. In the meantime, I went ahead and sprayed the gun carriages that will go down along the bottom here. They are drying right now. Actually, looks like they are dry, so they're kind of a, well, they're not quite dry yet, but they're getting there. They are a reddish color. I mean, they're red wood in real life, so closest I can get is red. For the top guns, I actually have ordered the brass guns and wooden carriages for the ones that'll all go up here where you can actually see them. So we'll get them going once we get up onto the upper deck. But I'm going to go ahead and get the ship glued together, let it start to dry, and then the rudder goes in back here. So I'll install the rudder, and after that, I guess we'll start doing the deck and putting the scale decking on. So let me go ahead and get this glued, and I'll be back. We'll see you in a bit. Okay, I got the hull glued together here. One thing I've learned is this little trick. These clamps, you can get these from Harbor Freight for about $1. They are fantastic for doing this kind of stuff, whether it be a tall ship or an ocean liner. So the next thing I'm going to do, just to kind of shore it up a little bit more, is just run a bead of glue down the center on the inside, just to make sure she holds together better, which shouldn't be a problem, but just in case, I like a little bit of insurance, because there'd be nothing worse than building this entire ship with all the rigging and sails and, well, having your center split apart. I did also just order a set of sails from a guy over in the Czech Republic. Well, I don't know if it's a guy, but a business in the Czech Republic. It's also where I got the cannons and all that good stuff. I'll have to link the name of his business. I'm sorry it escapes me right now, but made a pretty good order with him today. So hopefully that stuff will get here fairly quick, and I'll be able to really get it all put on. So he has a really extensive set for Constitution, so pretty cool. I didn't even know they had the aftermarket parts widely available. I mean, I know this kit has been around forever, but there doesn't seem to be, it doesn't seem like a kit that has a ton of extra stuff on it, or extra stuff for it. But yeah, once that stuff starts to come, I'll definitely be showing that and featuring it. So anyway, I'm gonna let this set up for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rudder put on and painted up, and I'll probably start to do some of the detail painting up here on the bow and back here on the back parlor rooms there. So I'm gonna work on that, and then I'll be back at you and show you where we're at. Okay, we're back. So while we were gone here, got the front painted up on the bow there. Basically what I did here, I just dry brushed the gold on there. It's decent. I'm okay with it. There's a couple little spots that I probably need to touch up with black, but all in all, not bad. I did the sides and the bottoms of the gun hole openings there, so they're all nice and black around the edges like they should be. Got the back here taken care of. I did a light kind of wash with a tint there. It's a little shiny. I don't know if I'm crazy about that, but I can dull it down. Got that side done. So we're pretty much at this point ready to go ahead and install the rudder, and from there we'll be able to put the deck on. So looking at the instructions, the rudder, let me just adjust this here. The rudder has the hinges that go on the sides there, like basically on the inside right here. So the shaft will basically run on that. So I'm going to go ahead and get that glued on. And it's important not to get glue near the joint because this will actually function. It has some stringing that goes up into the deck. I'll show you that in a second because I already got it strung. And of course the glue is stuck. Alright. I'm not going to go crazy with that because I don't want it to get near the steering portion there. Alright. Now one inaccuracy I noticed on the model, it has wood grain along the rudder here, if you can see that. I don't know if you can really see it or not, but the actual ship, the rudder is actually what do you call it, iron plated, or not iron, but copper plated as well. So I painted it copper. It is what it is. I'm not spending the money or the time to go back through and buy the copper plating that I know they sell for it. That's just way beyond what I'm planning on doing. Titanic, on the other hand, that will be getting all kinds of plating on it when we go that route down the road here. Okay, so why is that not wanting to join? Okay, it's still, or this should just basically go together. There's nothing real complicated on it. Okay, now that feels better. I'm just going to give it a little touch of CA glue up at the top to kind of help promote it to stick. I'm going to do that with a toothpick actually. Alright, so we're going to put a little touch in there. Alright, squeeze that down tight. Give it a couple seconds here. And we have good movement all in all, so that's a happy day in the neighborhood. All right, we are solid. All right, so model glue will obviously set up as we go, but the CA glue will help to hold it. All right, so this is the deck. Oh, and I want to cover something real quick. So the Constitution obviously had many different renditions. Obviously, it pretty much looks the same. However, now it's all completely black and white. This model is based on the 1814 version. There actually is gun hole cutouts up here now, I believe. Looking at pictures, I've looked at a bunch of different pictures, but this part right here doesn't appear to exist anymore, and it's actually more of a flat. And then they have made everything basically black and white. The insides on these walls in here would have been white back in that rendition, but I prefer the current rendition of the inside and the 1814 rendition of the outside. So my model, that's what I'm doing. So basically it's going to be kind of a hybrid of the original look and the current look. So that being said, the grading was supposed to be black according to the directions. I went more with the color that they currently are, and that's what we're doing. So I know it's not 100% purist and all that stuff, but that's what I want to do. So anyway, on the bottom here, calls for some eyelets with string going through to go to the to go up onto the upper deck here. So I have them pulled through. The string that comes with the kit is okay. I ordered a set online from his Models, which is also the place I got the cannons and everything else. I had to look the name up, but it's supposed to be much more accurate looking and different sizes. So we're going to give that a whirl when it gets here. So that will be on its way. All right, a little bit of glue, and now we're going to set this in the rudder. There's a small inset here, which you probably cannot see from that angle. Okay, now the rear of the ship, the rear bulwark, I believe they call it, this piece here, that is supposed to be able to go up and down because you'll be able to peer in and see the captain's quarters. So we're gonna probably do something cool with them, I'm sure. All right, so now we're about ready to glue this down. Now, the one thing with scale decks, I generally would put the decks on prior to gluing down. However, how this model is built, the deck is in 3 different pieces, and the scale decks is all one piece. So this is going to be a little bit tricky to make sure we get all the air bubbles out and it all sticks in, because I won't be able to do my normal clamping routine that I do for other ships that I've done with scale decks. But my plan in any case is going to be basically to use Mod Podge, which is a glue. It's extremely strong, and I'll probably end up weighting it down, weighting the deck down. That is really the only option I can see to get these things to stick once we're ready to glue it on. Okay, so there we go. Okay, it has little runners, which you probably just saw me glue a minute ago, for the deck to sit on. That's what I'm trying to land on right now. It's a little difficult to see exactly what you're doing with this, unfortunately, because everything's underneath. Okay, so it would appear there are runners. Yeah, there they are. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, is there one there? It's got to be. There's one there. There we go. Yes. Okay. Well, that's why I didn't feel right at first, but there we go. We are on. So, good deal. All right. Next up, we're going to glue the next deck on, which is the center. Now, this deck will be visible partially from up above. There's a hole that goes in the center right in here. Lifeboat sits on top of it and some other stuff. But this one will actually be a little bit more visible than the other stuff. So obviously I wanted to make sure the grading was real good on this one. So looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. Funny enough, I used this color on Lusitania for the mast and the what do you call it? The side rails on it, on part of it, and it looks pretty dead on to what Constitution's grates are painted currently today. Okay. A little bit of a challenge popping that open. I built this kit many years ago, like I said previously, and I don't remember having the challenges of this deck, but I'm sure I did. Well, I know why I'm having the challenges I am. I'm backwards. You know, see? This is why we make videos. That way you don't make the same stupid mistakes I do. There we go. That looks like it'll fit a little bit better. Uh-huh. Yep. Okay. Much better. And unfortunately, seeing I got some glue right there along the side, so I'm gonna have to touch that up after this whole thing is done. All right, we're good. I got some glue right up in here. It actually might be covered by the deck when we get the upper deck on, but I'm still gonna touch it up. All right, now we just got the front one to go. All right. I'm gonna try to slide this one in because it seems wider. Maybe not. Couldn't get that lucky. All right. Okay. There we go. All right, they are on. Beautiful. All right, so I'm gonna run upstairs. Oh, almost got paint on that. I'm gonna run upstairs real fast because my scale decks are upstairs. I had them drying out from the dull coat that I put down on them, and we're gonna go ahead and lay the deck down. So be back in just a minute. Well, I guess for you, I'll be back in a second. Okay, here we go. This is the scale deck. So if you've never used this before, these decks are fantastic. I've used them for many builds over the past few years. The one thing that is important, you just want to put a dull coat over it. That kind of seals in the seals out dirt and anything that could get into that. So I dull coated these, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago, and they are dry now. You want to be careful with that though. You can oversaturate them, and that's obviously not good either. But you do notice I got a little bit of a curl going on to it. But that has pretty much happened with every single scale deck I've ever used. But in the long run, they tend to work out fine. Never had an issue. Okay, and what I love about how they do scale decks, they just they're perfectly made for the kit that you're doing. So they cost a little bit of money, don't get me wrong. I think this set was $130, I don't know, somewhere in that neighborhood. You can only get them if you go to their website. It directs you to Amazon and eBay. So that's pretty much with all kits that I've seen from scale decks. So I don't think they actually have a selling website. I think it is just basically for a reference area that you can see what they have. They do a nice job though with the cuts. They're pretty much already pre-cut 100%. You just have to do that little bit of trimming like I was showing you right there. Okay, now before we glue in, the next thing we're going to do is just kind of give it a test run here. I'm going to have to build the stand here soon because this is going to be annoying if it continues to rock back and forth. But for the meantime, these clips work out pretty nice. There we go. All right, so we're just going to do a test fit first and see how we look. Okay, so, there we go. It looked like it was not going to fit right, but yes, we should be fine. Just want to get it all the way over. Okay, so we're going to curl it the opposite way of the way that it's currently curling to get in there. And I think the colors that I picked here, I'm really happy with them. They're both going to match this wood really nice. Okay, now one important thing I see, I got to remember to make sure I bring that string back up through for the rudder. And yeah, once it's glued down, we should be okay. Just need to do a little bit of trimming, it looks like, along the spots that I had to cut those little holes out for the grates. They appear to be a little bit holding it up. But yeah, it's going to fit nice. I am going to definitely have to weight it down, I'm pretty sure of that. But yeah, I can't really complain. I'm pretty happy with them. Alright, let me run upstairs again and get the Mod Podge, and we'll be right back. Okay, well, unfortunately it looks like I'm out of Mod Podge. So, I'm going to go with what Scale Decks actually recommends is Gorilla Wood Glue. So, I have a bottle of that. I just prefer, personally, the Mod Podge, however you say it. But we're going to go ahead and use the Gorilla Glue, as much as I don't want to. Now, the big secret to doing these decks with any glue, whether it's this or Mod Podge or whatever you use, is not getting too much and not getting too many goopy gloopies. Goopy gloopy? Yeah. Getting them into it, because it makes it much harder to dry, and these are actually real wood, so they can warp. So we're gonna go just kind of spread it around for a minute, and then I'm gonna spread it out with a Q-tip and toothpick. That's kind of how I usually do it. Sometimes I'll use a paintbrush, but right now I have toothpicks or Q-tips on hand, and I don't want to waste a paintbrush. Alright, so Q-tip, we're just basically going to spread it around and try to thin it out as much as we possibly can. Sometimes you can also take like a Bondo spreader. That works really good for body work, because it spreads it out nice and even. I also have a spatula from the 3D printer I could use too. But what I want it to do before I end up putting it down is kind of start to tack up. So it's fairly warm in here, so it should tack up fairly easily. and then it's basically just going to be laying it down. I did, while I was on the little video break there, I trimmed down the deck a little bit more, where I had those issues that I was showing in the last segment there. So they are fixed and addressed and pretty much ready to just drop right on now at this point. Okay, so still a little thick right in there. I also do have this little spreader I can use. Yeah, that's actually kind of helping. Yeah. Okay, ooh, I got those strings there. They have to go through the deck. I don't want to get them all glued on and get it all over my good wood decks once they go through. Definitely need to build the stand. If this ship rotates every time I move throughout the build, it will drive me insane. I've gotten kind of spoiled and used to building ocean liners as of late, and most of them have flat bottoms, so this is a little bit different for me, dealing with a very curved bottom. But every model has its own little quirks, I guess. Okay. Alright, we're almost there. Yeah, the glue is already actually, I can see it already starting to kind of set up. So that's good, and that should help the deck to adhere quickly. Now I don't want to, I want to make sure, I'm sorry, I'm probably blocking the camera. The challenges of videoing and doing things, they're real. I'm still fairly new to this whole YouTube world, but hopefully I'm improving with each video. Definitely trying to, and really for me the most important thing is trying to show what I do, because how I kind of got started with this was I'd post pictures of builds that I was doing on Facebook, and then I'd get a bunch of messages asking me how I did this or how I did that, and I figured the easiest way to explain it was just show it. So here we are. Alright, now I'm just going to take the Q-tip around some of these bigger gloppy spots. Okay. Okay. And I'm okay with it being a little heavier around these grates too, because I wanted to make sure it kind of sticks there, because that could be a fail point. So I don't want it thick, but I want it thick enough that it's going to be there to adhere. And I'll probably have to retouch up my mahogany around the grates after I get the deck on, but that's okay. Okay, we are just about there, I think. Yep, okay. So, now we're going to put our string up through the hole here. Okay, first one's up. Okay, oh, no, oh, beautiful, they both fell through. Other thing that's important is making sure I get the right one to the right hole. That would be kind of bad if I got it all down and one was the left and one was the right. Okay, and once we get these kind of through, then I'll probably put a little piece of tape on it. Not on the deck, I'll pull it over to the side of the ship and tape on the ship. You really don't want to do any kind of taping or anything on these decks. They are quite delicate for what they are. They look fantastic, but they are finicky. Alright, here we go. So, get it. First thing we want to do is make sure we're all the way over to the far end, which I'm not yet. Okay, there we go. And we need to come back just a hair. Okay, gotta trim that spot just a bit more. Simple razor blade will trim it, no biggie. Should do it. Seems better. Okay, come on, get in there. And the glue is definitely already starting to adhere, which is good. Mod Podge gives you a tiny bit more working time, and in my opinion sticks better, but gotta do with what I got. Okay. I hate folding this stuff. Okay. Almost there. There we go. All right. Now it's all just a matter of getting it into position and starting to apply some pressure. And it's not breaking, it's just it going down around the deck supports. So no big deal there. We want that to happen. Okay, this is actually sticking down better than I anticipated. The last time I used Gorilla Glue, it did not want to stick very well. That's kind of why I ended up trying the whole Mod Podge stuff and was happy with it, but I guess I'm becoming a Gorilla Glue believer again, because it is sticking fairly firm and I'm not getting any bubbles really in it. So that's better than I expected, honestly. Yeah, I'm still gonna weight it down, but not too bad. Okay, well, that's pretty much on. Now it's just, like I said, gonna be a matter of letting it sit overnight and dry with some weight on it. So I'm going to balance out the ship and then put some weights on it and let it cure overnight, and hopefully everything's good. So that's pretty much going to wrap up, well, this segment. What I'm going to work on over the next few days here, and I won't bore anybody with the video of that, but got 32 cannons that go on this deck, so they all run right along here. So we're going to work on putting them in and getting them strung up. I'll paint the wheels black. Like I said, I have the nice cannons ordered for the upper deck, but these I'm just going to use the kit cannons. They're not bad. They'll be okay. But I'm excited about the brass ones for up top, so we'll use those, and hopefully these turn out okay for what they are. I think they will. I mean, a million people have built this ship and done it successfully without doing any add-on parts, so I'm quite sure it will be okay. We're going to tape that real quick so we don't lose it back up inside. But yeah, the next video, I'll probably have most of the cannons installed, and I'll start the captain's quarters back here. I might have that done before the next video. I don't know how many videos this series will end up being. I mean, this is a pretty extensive kit once we get all through it, but there's a lot here, so I generally try to do a 10 video series, but this one definitely may be more than that, with how many pieces there are and the complexity to the rigging and the putting the sails up and everything else. So like I said, I am going to get the real cloth sails from his company that I'll have. I'll actually post a link down to it in the description here, so if you're interested in purchasing any of their stuff, they have some really nice plus-ups for this. I'm trying to remember what all I ordered. I ordered the blocks and the eyelets for the cannon carriages. I ordered new anchors, which are actual metal, so they'll look pretty sweet. I ordered the sails. I ordered the string, like I said. I ordered something else, but anyway, I'm gonna close it out here, and thank you very much for watching. I know this is new for people that haven't subscribed to my channel yet from the Constitution page, so hopefully I'm doing some justice and teaching. And those of you who already are subscribed, I appreciate you 100%. If you enjoy what I'm doing, please give it a like, and definitely subscribe if you aren't already. In the upcoming future, I'm going to be doing a commercial for it, but I just accepted a commission build for another Queen Mary 2, which is going to be all lit up. I've had quite a few requests for information on what I did and how I did it and all that, so the good thing is I've already built it, and I'm going to get to be able to build it again, and I'll make it better, and I'll be able to do it in a way that everybody else can kind of hopefully learn from it, because unfortunately when I built mine, I had not yet started the YouTube videos, so I guess that ship was what actually got me started on doing this. So anyway, let me get these weighted down, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for tuning in.